What's up, synthesizers? Welcome back to the Synthesis Agency channel. All things for DJs, producers, labels, and promoters. This is the daily drop in where we share some tips, tools, and resources for you guys to help you grow your artist career and have a really banging online presence and all the things. So in our welcome video, we discussed how important here at Synthesis knowing your artist DNA, your artist brand is. And so today we're going to dive into that just a little bit more because this is kind of a non-negotiable piece for you. If you're an artist out there trying to grow your career, and let's say you find marketing a little bit hard or a little challenging, or you really don't enjoy promoting yourself, and all that kind of feels a little like icky and not so great, the key to unlocking this and to actually feeling good about marketing yourself and also creating effective marketing is all going to come down to your artist brand. So getting to know who you are as an artist is so important. And this really goes beyond what most people think brand is. Most people think brand is like colors and fonts and like a visual look and all of that. While that is an element of brand, is this visual piece, what we're talking about here goes way, 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 way deeper. And oftentimes this process of really diving into your artist brand can be so illuminating for you about your music, your story, your narrative, and is going to give you so many clues and so many guides to how you're going to market yourself, how you're going to promote yourself. The really cool thing about this, if you get really deep into knowing your brand to the point that you really embody it in every single way, and it is a true reflection of who you are also going to find that your marketing gets way, way easier. So stick around here. We're going to kind of riff on a few different topics and flow through a few different things. But I encourage you and I invite you now to spend some time to look at your current social media, your current online presence. Let's start there. And put a pause button here if you need to. Flip over to your Instagram for a second. Just open it up. And I want you to just open it up and take a look at what you see. And when you look at it, I want you to be a little savage on yourself. Look at it. Ask yourself, does this really show and express who I am as an artist? And this is the moment that you want to be very, like I said, a little savage on yourself and really look at what you're putting out there in the world currently. And does it reflect you and your music truthfully and authentically? So as a place to start, you can see and begin to find where there might be some gaps, where there might be some places that you aren't fully embodied in your brand, that you aren't fully tapped in and tuned into who you are as an artist and why you're here and what you stand for and what you value. Because all of those things should be 100% evident on your page. So if you popped onto your page, or if I pop onto your page, and all I see is a bunch of flyer art, we've got a problem. Because that doesn't tell us anything. If we see a bunch of pictures of food and your family, and that's it, and no sign of music, we've got a problem too. So you see what I mean? When someone pops onto that page, they've got to know it's you. And that is why you need to develop a really strong, clear brand. So they know, your fans know, what they're looking at, what they can expect, what's the feeling, the emotion, and the sensation. You see what I'm saying? So take a good look at all your social media pages first and be really honest with yourself and ask yourself, does this really reflect who I am? Does this really showcase what makes me unique as an artist? What makes me really special? Because it's not just about your fans, right? This piece of differentiation, people in the industry are looking at this. Promoters are looking at this. Because if they're going to book you, right, and they're looking at a lineup or they're looking who's in the market around different times of the year or crossing paths with you, they want to find that differentiation between the other people promoting events, right? So the more that you're going to be able to showcase this, the better, not just for your fans, but also for your potential ability to get bookings in the places that you want to get bookings. Okay, so let's bookmark that there as well. So you've looked at your pages here for a second, right? And you've really felt into, okay, does this really express who I am? Does this really showcase who I am as an artist? And now you might have some ideas of where there are some gaps. And I want you to really just be honest, like I said, and pay attention to where those might be. And ask yourself, what's needed? Like, what's needed to fill those gaps? It's likely diving more deeply into your artist brand and going beyond just sort of a visual appeal or a look or, you know, the standard sort of marketing things that musicians do, a release promo, you know, an event promo kind of thing. I want you to like really look beyond that, because the reason people become your fans is not because you're playing another gig in Colorado next weekend at this place, like kind of no one cares unless they live there and they're going to get to see you. Like no one cares about all that content that's coming out, honestly. What they do care about is getting to know you. And so this is where your artist brand and creating around that gives you the opportunity to deeply connect with people, for them to understand who you are. So there's a few territories you can go in to start kind of working this artist DNA piece. And you can better believe we're going to have many, 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 many episodes dedicated to brand and dedicated to the artist DNA, because this is really, like I said, such an essential piece that like it has to get nailed. Like you have to nail it and you have to continually work it because you're an artist and you're evolving. So once we're kind of like zooming past just visual identity and look, although that is important, and maybe you looked at your page and it looks like a complete shit show and you've got to go back and, you know, really think about that as well, because that is a huge piece. So I don't want to just act like that's not a huge piece. I want you to still keep that there, especially if you don't have a solid visual brand identity. But in order to get to a solid visual brand identity, if you don't already have one, it really helps to go in and start looking at who you are as an artist. Like, who are you? Like, if you had to pick 3 words to describe you and your music, what would they be? This is a very good place to start with the vibe. What is the vibe? What is the vibe that you are bringing to your pages? And asking yourself, if someone opened up those pages, like when you opened up those pages, did you feel a vibe? Was the vibe really clear? And again, be honest. Like, could you really tune in and like figure out what that is? And if no, then stop, pause again, get some vibe words together here. Get some clarity around the energy and the essence that you're projecting out there. So the next thing I want you to really look at beyond the vibe words is something that I think is really important, and a lot of people do not focus on this. So if you can kind of nail this, you're going to be many steps ahead of many artists who are out there putting content, marketing themselves, saturating the market with their noise. This is some way that you can really, really cut through. And that is to really investigate, what is it that you value as an artist? What do you stand for as an artist? When you can position yourself behind your values and you take a stand for something, you are going to connect with people in a way that's kind of like building these like bonds, right? You're like building a very strong bond because you think alike and you value the same things. And we all know in a relationship, right? Like if you have an intimate relationship or a partnership with someone, right? Because like I want you to think of your fans that way. I don't want you to think of, oh, it's just like another person like over there who likes my music. No, I want you to think of like you are in relationship with these people. You are building a relationship, and the stronger you can forge that relationship, the longer those people are going to be hanging out with you, right? How do we do this? We have to look at, what do you value? What do you stand for? What is your why? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And then, and this is kind of the scary part, and I think this is the scary part around like, and maybe why people avoid getting this deep into brand, because then we need to share it with people and we need to express it. So as you're looking at like, what do I value? What do I stand for? I want you to think about how you're going to weave that into your content, into your messaging. That's like a whole nother topic we'll get into at some point, but I want you to start with that seed in your mind. Okay, this is what I value. This is what is important to me. This is what I know my audience values, right? My fans value. Like, also thinking about that again, like we're forging relationships. Fans aren't just like numbers. It's not just a follower account, right? It's not just, metrics, numbers, data. They're people, right? So we want to connect with people. And we do this by really identifying what we value, what we stand for, and bringing that to the forefront in our content and the way that we show up. And kind of like the third piece that I want to just add in here. So basically you've got kind of your vibe words, you've got that energy, that essence. We'll throw visual aesthetic in here too, because that can really transmit sort of that energy and that vibe. And then you're going in and you're really looking at, what do I value? What do I stand for? And here like is the extraction of a lot of your messaging. Like this is going to be a lot of how you weave together that energy and vibe with sort of the dominant messages that you're here to share that really encapsulate who you are and what you're about. These pieces are going to come together and really connect deeply with your fans. And then we're going to go in and we're going to really look at the narrative, the story. What is your artist story, right? What is your brand story? But we're going to call it your artist story, your journey as an artist. And this will be kind of an overarching journey that you have that I want you to really start to think about what your art journey as an artist has been. But then you're going to have all these journeys and narratives that are woven into your music releases, into maybe important events that you're going to play or promote or produce. So really thinking about how you can start to tell stories and allow yourself to tell stories through your brand. But starting with really identifying what those stories are. So to kind of recap this, vibe words, energy, essence, presence, how it translates in the words and the copy, but also in the visuals. What do you stand for? What do you value? This is going to give you a lot of insight into your messaging and how you're going to be creating copy and talking about your, talking about your releases, talking about your events, talking about your process, what you're creating, all of that. And then you're going to drop into this piece around your story and who you are as an artist and developing stories for everything. Like people love hearing stories, and you get to be that storyteller, kind of like you do with your music. It's not really that different. Most of you are telling stories with your music. So like, what is the story of the music? And really asking yourself that. So these couple pieces are going to give you a very good start in clarifying that artist DNA and getting clear on what it is that you are here to share, what you stand for, why someone even wants to be a fan and have this relationship with you. And we're going to plant the seed right now for this concept and this idea of the fan relationship. Perhaps we'll explore that in one of the upcoming episodes. So that's all we got for the Daily Drop today. Make sure that you subscribe. Maybe you got something from this and you want to share it with another artist. Perhaps you have a topic that you'd really like us to cover over here. Drop it in the comments, shoot us a message, and we'd be happy to do a daily drop on it. All right, thank you all for tuning in. See you next time.